think we're good.
Okay.
So now, this is the good part. Okay, all right, let's get rid of the jiggles. I don't like hitting the live button. That's the part I hate. I hate hitting the button. After that, I'm good. Okay, here we go. Oh, and the other thing I need is my iPad so we can see these people chime in like crazy. If I don't have that, they're going to yell at me. If you see a big iPad, let me know.
Okay.
I think it, you know what, I think it's in the other room.
Okay.
And by the way, feel free to have your phone out because what we do is we have everybody, like, you can go live in the discussion too and be reading along.
Oh, okay.
If anybody needs it. Hi, Frodo. All right. In the future, you know what? Just let me know when you're here, and maybe I'll bug you again.
Yeah, I'll be back out in a few months, I'm sure.
Love it.
So what do I need to be on?
You basically go onto the videomantis.com
Okay.
Facebook page,
All right.
and then it'll pop up, and as long as you like us, it'll be like, hey, Video
Yeah.
Mantis is live. Get this one going here. Oh, you got the X. How do you like it?
Oh, it's fine. I don't even think about it anymore. And then I pick up my wife's phone. It's like, oh, no, there's no. Yeah, it took a little while getting used to.
Right? We're spoiled.
Okay, so that's where it should be?
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
It should just show up right there.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as you've got it liked, I think like within 10 seconds of it being clicked on, it should just go. And so now I just have to put up the... And we're live, everybody. Hi, everyone. This is Thomas Popp here on a Mantis discussion here with Whit Norris. He is a sound mixer from Atlanta, Georgia, one of my good friends. And you know what? I don't get to see you often. So the second I knew that you were in town, I was like, get over here and come to – I know you got a plane, but you might miss it because you got to come here and talk to everybody. How are you doing, bud?
Good.
Very good.
Very good for a Friday.
Absolutely. So, well, why are you here? What happened? What brought you to L.A. today?
Basically, we have something that the Georgia Film Office has done for about the last 8 years. It's called Georgia Film Night. And it's basically a cocktail party, and they invite a lot of the producers that have worked in Georgia and the studio people. The mayor and governor are in town, and and a lot of the film industry. It's just a big thank you, appreciative for the people that are working and shooting in Georgia and bringing projects there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, excellent.
And then, of course, happened to fall upon showing the Cantoress at True yesterday, so I got to actually see that for the first time.
Absolutely, yeah. For everybody that didn't know, True Audio had an event yesterday where Aton Digital, they came in and showed off the Cantor S, the Cantor X3, basically all of the toys. And I'll be honest, this is the first time that I've seen a Cantor since the first Cantor, like 15 years ago.
Yeah, it's changed a lot.
Oh my gosh, has it changed? Why don't you tell people about it?
Well, I was not an early user, but I can tell you I've been using it for almost 3 years. 3 years ago, there was not a product that I could move on to where I could get what a lot of us are facing these days, to get a higher track count.
Yeah.
But basically with the X3 analog, I'm talking not all the digital inputs and everything, but basically I can have 13 tracks, my mix in 12, and that generally gets me through most of my projects these days.
Excellent, excellent. So you've definitely noticed that the track counts have gone up for what we do on a day-to-day basis. How does that make it easier or harder on your procedure with your crew and with the equipment that you have to use? What can you talk about the differences between a lower track count and a higher track count show?
I don't know. I haven't had a lower track count show in a while.
Oh gosh, yeah, right. You're just in war all the time.
Well, the project we just did, Paramount Picture, it was called Instant Family, but we had generally, for the most part, 3 children and 2 adults the whole time.
Wow.
And we even had some scenes involving 16 speaking parts. But basically, it was a family setting. A couple adopting some foster children, but we had five all the time.
Wow.
So due to the fact of we had a 4-year-old who she was always very short in the frame.
Yeah.
Until we got to her coverage, so we had to make sure she was mic'd, and being that it was somewhat of a warm-hearted comedy, you have to keep people mic'd for when people decide to ad-lib and things change and that type of thing. And also, we used a lot of 2 booms also on it.
Yeah, okay. And you know what? I want to talk a little bit more about that, because I believe that this Mantis discussion today is going to be more about boom operators. But instead of having a boom operator here to say, hey, this is what I do and everything, I wanted to kind of start by going around the block a little bit and talking to a sound mixer about their opinion of what makes a good boom operator and what are the prerequisites that you need to have in order to work on a show with you.
Well, I've been very blessed with the boom operators I've had. Doug Cameron I think we've been together 14 years, so I'm pretty spoiled with Doug. We don't generally even have to speak that much.
Yeah.
He knows, we just know each other that well. And, when the actor walks deep into the corner of the set, I know Doug can't reach him. I've realized what his limitations, so I'm going to bring in the wire a little bit to help with that on the mix.
But you can feel it though.
Yeah.
It's almost like they're an extension of your body.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the way that I've always described it to people. It's like, man, if you're butting heads with your boom operator, maybe you don't have the right connection.
Right.
Right? Well, can you talk about that, the connection of a sound mixer and a boom operator?
If you look at Don Sufel and like Jeff Wexler that were together for, I think 30 years.
Mm-hmm. One more year and they get a set of steak knives, I hear.
Yeah. But same thing. They didn't talk a lot. They just kind of knew each other, knew what worked, what didn't after you've done that many projects that they did.
Right.
And I think I'm on that similar path with Doug on that. Also, another boom operator, Colt Logan's worked with me and is, of course, our first call to fill in when Doug's not available. And he and I are very much similar way, although Colt likes to talk to me a little more just to make sure he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
One of the most important things I think about the boom operator is they run the set. They are on the set. Doug and Colt and these guys, they never leave the set. They're there the whole time. They watch the lighting. They watch the stand-ins. They watch where the cameras are going. Things develop, when cameras are being set up for a scene. And they're there the whole time. They run the set. I'm in the rear with the gear. When I come on set, people think something's wrong most of the time.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
Yeah.
What's wrong? I'm allowed to walk here, I'm usually not, but
well, I'm out for the blocking generally, and
yeah,
that's it. But they see me, they tease me. I say, well, I'm just doing a drive-by and just checking on you guys.
that's awesome. That's great.
But that's what I expect out of a boom operator. I've again been very privileged because of Doug, because he never leaves the set. He's there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's also good about if he does leave. He usually calls Alana, who is usually our sound utility. Alana comes and watches the set for him while he goes to craft service or needs to make a phone call.
Just anything.
Or the restroom, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's something to say about, you have to be focused 100% of the time that you're on set. If you're just standing there for a couple minutes going, nothing's going to change, and you leave, and something does change, that's where we as a community of sound people literally, I think angels die in heaven when they yell for sound on set and there isn't someone there. Isn't that true?
Yeah.
They die, the wings fall off.
Yeah.
And they just fall.
Well, it becomes...
and then they become PAs.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a bad joke.
No, but if there's not somebody there, it becomes a big deal.
Yeah, exactly. It becomes a major problem.
But generally, because of a boom operator that stays on the set so much, they develop relationships with the first AD, with the camera operators, with the gaffer, with the key grips, with the dolly grip, with the prop master, the other people that are working the set. And that's something else that is really important in a boom operator. Doug has such a great personality. He gets along with everyone. And I use the slang term a little bit. He plays well with others.
That's good.
And that's important in a boom operator.
Plays well with others.
They have to work with all these departments to get what we need.
Yeah.
And if you're a nice guy or a nice person,
so much easier.
They're more than happy to help you out. And to, get you an apple box or a ladder or to fix the squeaky dolly track or whatever it might be.
Yeah, what is it called? You kill more bees with honey?
Yeah,
type of deal?
It is.
If you're always like, you know what, I can hear that damn track again, tough shit. You know what I mean? I got better things to do, like stand here and not care.
Yeah. But that's part of, I think, the sound department overall is winning everyone over.
Right.
Is because 3 people alone will never, ever get great sound.
Yeah.
But a film crew will. If you can get everybody on board to help you, that's how you're going to achieve great sound.
Honorary sound members.
Yes.
That's what I call everybody on set. You're an honorary sound member. If you're helping me wire, you're part of the team.
Yeah.
And I'm part of your team too. If I've noticed that people have a little tie that's messed up, I'll fix it. And hey, I fixed the tie for you just to let you know, because the mic's in there anyways. But yeah, it's that communal filmmaking that we need to get to instead of always pointing fingers at people.
I think Jan McLaughlin has pins and buttons, Friends of Sound.
Friends of
that
Sound.
she passes out to fellow crew members.
I love it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but I believe she started that.
If anyone has a picture, please put those in the comments. I would love to see one of those pins if we find them. And guys, once again, this is a Mantis discussion. We're here with Whit Norris. He flew in from Atlanta for a gig that he was working on, and I pulled him into the studio. So if you guys have any questions, please let us know. Leave them in the comments. I'm in the process right now of pulling up the comments on Facebook. That's why I keep looking down. Let me ask you another question about boom operators, because you were specifically talking about that show with the mom and the dad and the kids. When you're booming tall people versus kids, you were saying, I just had to put a wire on them right away. So what's the situation with that? What's the story? What can you tell us more about that?
Well, we did use 2 booms when we could, but we generally kept people wired because we had tall people and short people in the frame, and also we had multiple cameras. Due to with some of the children that we were working with, we only had so many hours a day that we could work with them. So we pulled out some extra cameras to try to, as they say, hose everything down.
Yeah.
Which that again forces you into using wires more than you care for. But generally, we got everything on the coverage. but we would do multiple master shots
Hmm.
of the scenes. You know, do it from this side and then do it from this side also.
Okay, so even if you are wiring them, you are also, making sure that you're getting that coverage
Right.
as well. So
Hmm.
you're not just relying on those wires that so many people do. Oh, you got a wire on them. Can't we just use that for the coverage?
Uh, we try to get out of that. We try to at least get some of the coverage with the boom. That's always our goal, and
Yeah, that's the
that's
goal.
usually what we do. The picture we did before this, it was an Amblin picture. Basically, it was something I had not seen in a long time. One camera.
Mm, crazy.
Yeah, Eli Roth was the director, and he wanted one camera, and Eli knew exactly what he wanted, which I really respect him as a director. We carried two cameras, but we only did 16 setups with two cameras for the
When you really needed it.
50 days of shooting. Generally, Eli really knew how to use the cameras right, so we would be setting up for a shot here,
Hmm.
and then we'd have the second camera setting up for the dolly shot that we were going to do next. And then when we finished with this camera, then we would hop on to the dolly shot, to the B camera.
Right.
It's a little bit of leapfrogging, which was fine. I was still dealing with one camera. I managed to record, I want to say, probably close to 95% of that film on a boom.
Incredible.
Which I cannot say I have those ratios on anything
On
else.
anything else,
in the
yeah.
past decade.
You're not really able to do that much in some of these shows because of they are budgeting for multiple cameras, so they're going to use them.
Yeah.
And it's just the time factor that if they didn't have it, I don't think that they would be able to get these days done without these multiple cameras.
Yeah.
But what does that do to our project, though? Like, our part of the of the process. What does it do?
Forces us into using wires more. And my issue is I don't have an issue using the wires. It's a tool that we're given, and due to schedules and cameras and budgets, that's sometimes what we have to go with.
Mm-hmm.
As long as they sound good.
Yeah.
If they sound good, then I don't have an issue. If I have a problem, that's when I'm going to the director. This doesn't work for
Right.
us.
Right.
I want you to be aware of it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I understand if you've only got this actor for another hour,
Yeah.
but if we could change something up to where we could get a boom in on this, which is what we really need, and most of the time they listen.
Yeah.
And most of the time they'll go with my decision, but sometimes they don't. But I brought it up to them, spoke to them, made them aware of it.
Right.
Sometimes there's other factors there that Harrison Ford leaves the set in 20 minutes, and
That's it.
That's it. And
That's it.
I've still got 2 pages to shoot, and I understand that.
Yeah, that's not of your control. That might mean you just have to get them
Yeah.
another day
Yeah.
or get it done.
Yeah, but I don't play that card unless I need to. If you're always going to the director and always not figuring out how to solve some of the issues,
Hmm.
I think that then they don't listen to you as much.
Yeah.
Oh, here that guy comes again.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the problem. Yeah, so you have to be. A lot of people have been saying on this when they come in here, you have to be proactive. You can't be reactive.
Yeah.
Can you tell me, and maybe even give me scenarios of the differences between a proactive boom operator and a reactive boom operator? This is just hypothetical speaking. Let's say.
Proactive,
Yeah.
when they were rehearsing with the dolly, if he noticed any noise at that time, would bring it up then, because he was there on the set, he was paying attention, and the dolly needs a little grease or powder or ever how they prefer.
Oh, so you're
Okay.
saying not on take one?
Yes.
Oh, really? You're saying before?
Yeah.
You hear that, guys?
Yeah.
That's so true.
The set door, you're on a set, the front door squeaks. You notice this during rehearsals and setup, and also because crew members have been going in and out of it, getting the WD-40 and
Exactly.
going over and hitting the hinges.
One of the things I used to do when I know that we're talking about boom operators, but as a sound utility, I was working on sound deviation while you guys were working on how you were going to capture the sound. And if we're working in a classroom, I'm going on every single chair in the class with 30 times to find the one. Oh, this one's squeaky. Get rid of this one. Because have you ever noticed that it is the one that the actor sits in that's the most squeakiest?
It seems to be.
It always happens.
Yeah.
It's karma. Or
No,
something. I don't know.
we've been known to check chairs and
Yep.
put a little padding under the feet if need be and that type of stuff. But yeah, and we're doing all this before take one. I think a lot of it comes down to, Thomas, is just experience.
Yeah.
You've been there, done that. You know what your challenges are and what you need to do. If you're sitting around on a set with nothing to do, then there's something wrong.
Yeah.
You should be looking for.
You're the wrong variable in that
Yeah,
equation.
you know, unless you've been on this set for 3 days and you've already solved all your issues,
Right.
and you know what they are.
Yeah.
But,
exactly.
But anytime it's a new set or new scene or new setup, you should be looking for what might challenge the sound department.
Absolutely. You always have to be thinking about what's going to happen, or if something happens, how am I going to solve it immediately? Right. Having that A, B, C plan to make sure that you are covered, because, man, if you don't have a plan, well, no, we're going to have to stop for a minute because we have a legitimate problem. That's a nightmare.
Well, here's something that people are running across, and I've ran across it too. You have to solve it before take one, because guess what? If they start running on take one, they don't stop. They reset, do it again.
You're right.
Reset, do it again.
Hey, but I really need to check. No, we don't have time.
Yeah.
We don't have time.
Well, nobody's yelled cut.
Yep.
So they're just resetting, going back to one, doing it again, it again, and if you didn't catch it before, it may not get fixed for that setup.
Right. Wow. Well, that's stressful too.
That is. But that's why you should be paying attention to begin with, and try to find all your challenges before take one, because sometimes you may not even get a chance to fix them.
Yeah, you may not.
Yeah.
So let's turn gears for a little bit, because obviously we talked about making sure that we're on our A game, making sure that we're paying attention to the set, making sure that we are just aware of our surroundings. It was always taught to me that you develop your third ear. My mixer used to always go, Thomas, you need to develop your third ear right here. And I'd be like, yes, sir. But it's true, because here we are having to listen to some other source of what we're trying to record, but we also have to be listening to the AD and to you and to the to everybody, just to know what's going on around us, so we don't get shot in the back. That's I felt like I always had a target on my back sometimes, and that's not a healthy way to think. You don't need to think that way on set, but when there's a lot going on, you just have to make sure that you've got your chess pieces in a row. So.
And doing all this and carrying yourself in a professional manner and playing well with others, you gain everyone's respect. So when you do need something, or you do need something from the first AD or the prop master or whoever it might be on the set, you'll generally get it.
But what happens when you don't? So here's the other scenario.
Okay.
You're working on shows. We've all been there, because not every show is going to be that A-lister show where just everybody is like, no, we respect everybody here, and when the sound mixer comes out, everybody listens and takes care of it. A lot of the times, what is it? It's F sound. I've heard it before too. Not that's a very hostile way to start this discussion.
Yeah.
I know.
I mean, I've seen that in the years past. I don't see it that often these days. Everybody's trying to do something. It may be at some point. It's nothing we can do, but. But
what about if you go on even lesser shows, though?
Well, and getting ugly about it, that's not tolerated these days with the environment that we've been in over the past year, with people being ugly and getting in people's faces. I think we'll be seeing a lot less of that, because that attitude is not going to be put up.
It's not tolerated anymore.
No,
I think that's good.
Yeah, and I'm seeing that. I hope that remains true.
Great.
On other sets, but most of the sets I work on, everybody's very respectful and nobody's raising any voices or anything, unless there's a safety issue or something like that.
Right, something that needs to be addressed.
Watch your back, get out of the way,
right.
That type of thing.
Right.
But everybody's pretty calm and cool. But occasionally, you are going to have somebody that blows it off, and you know what? You do what you can do, and you roll on.
Yeah.
Trying to fight about it is not going to work. They're doing it because of daylight, time constraints. We had to shoot 6 pages today, whatever the issue is.
Right.
We had to wait on the actor an hour and a half. I mean, we see all these different issues that ends up crunching your schedule or the time you have to be able to get something shot and recorded properly.
Right.
And unfortunately, we know we can fix it in the end.
Yeah.
And unfortunately,
they kind of know that too.
Sometimes that's how it has to go.
Yeah.
But long as you've done your best to try to correct it, you talk to the locations department, you talk to whoever to try to fix whatever the issue was, then you move on. I guess that's how I can sleep well at night and look myself in the mirror in the morning. I did everything I could do.
Right.
I'm not going to lose any sleep over it.
Absolutely. That's the difference between being a sound designer and a dialogue recorder like we do, the sound mixer on set. You know what? There's a lot less interpretation of what it's supposed to sound like. It's cut or dry. Yeah. We're here to record the dialogue, get it clean, minimize that ambience, just get a good sounding track that they can work with.
Yeah. And going into some, sometimes in noisy environments, ISOs work.
Right. Yeah, sometimes you have to use these tools, even if
Yeah.
you don't want to. Understanding that we are not the only people on set. We're not even the only people in sound. We're just part of the chain, and all we can do is get what we get.
Yeah.
Right?
But don't become complacent.
Right.
That would be my advice. Always check. There was a issue with the location. I had addressed it on the Scout,
Mm-hmm.
told it was going to be fine. When I got there, no, we cannot turn off the AC.
Mm.
Okay. I'd appreciate if somebody had told me this before the day of.
Yeah.
And then we also had an issue with a motor and a fountain and some stuff. And actually, we were able to shut off the fountains. That had taken care of that on the Scout. But when you turned the fountains off, there was a filtration system that was in the background to a pond at Piedmont Park. And didn't realize that was there because it was covered.
Yeah, you just don't know until.
Well, it was covered up by the fountain.
Yeah.
Right.
That's funny.
And then I went through one or two locations. They told me there was nothing that could be done. I went higher up the food chain to the line producer and discussed it with them, and then they brought in the actual location manager, the site rep, and discussed it, and there was nothing that could be done. But I did my due diligence going up the food chain trying to solve the issue.
Exactly. You did what you could.
I didn't take no from an assistant locations person. I tried to run a little farther with it. Not that it got anywhere, but I felt like I did everything and talked to everyone possible to try to solve that issue.
Wow. So guys, also know prerequisites too. If they're working on a location with a fountain, maybe it's a good thing just to remember for everybody. I would have never thought about that. Hey, check the fountain, but do they have a filtration system for the fountain? Because you might have to turn that off too.
Yeah.
Just giving you a heads up, just so you don't have that surprise on the day.
Yeah. But also
see a sound, hear a sound.
But check with people. Go up the food chain a little bit. I don't always just take no for an answer. I want to know why sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
Just for my knowledge.
Well, and you're right.
And not being ugly about it, but okay, why can this not happen?
Right, and just be able to give us a logical answer because we're here to help you achieve a higher quality soundtrack. So we're doing our task. We're doing our part of the bargain. And, sometimes we work on these sets where people are just like, oh, no, we can't turn that off. Just go. But it's like, well, maybe we can, so maybe we need to just talk about it a little bit and have the discussion like you had, right? So what else can we talk? What about your boom operator utility? Talk to me about their relationship.
They're pretty dialed in, Doug, and but then again, we've done a lot of projects together. They're both on comms, so they're both constantly communicating with each other.
Oh, they can actually talk back and forth.
Yeah, I have talk-back systems for that, which...
God, that helps.
Yeah, and I've had Alana, when she's worked with some other teams, had the ability to listen, but not to speak back, which sometimes I think was a little frustrating for her.
Yeah.
Because she was always used to being in contact, with the mixer and the boom operator.
Right. Yeah. It can throw you for a loop when you're like, oh, you can't hear me anymore.
Yeah.
New mixer. Gotcha.
But they're in constant communication, which I think it's important. And yes, it costs me 2 more wirelesses and this and that and the referee switch and whatever to put all that in play. But I think it makes our team roll better.
Yeah.
Generally, she's always managing the wiring. Doug will help out sometimes if he's not too busy, but generally she has it under control, and we've got it worked out with production where they're not bringing us 5 actors at one time, but
it's a beautiful thing.
Trickling them in.
It's a beautiful thing,
and that's the way it should work.
Yep.
And if she does have to do second boom and she's been busy wiring, Doug has already worked out her spot, knows where to tell her to go, and who she's covering and what, and she just eases right in there for that second boom. Position, but that's also because Doug worked it out which is something else the boom operator should be doing, is figuring out if he needs a second boom.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll be honest with you. As a utility, I've worked with a bunch of different boom operators, and one thing that I've loved about a few of them is that they would be like, hey, listen, I was working over here, but I think you need to just be ready over here just in case. I might not need you, but I might. Yeah. And, okay, great, and I can get ready instead of being like, hey, I need you. Well, where? Well, you should have been paying attention. Well, I was wiring 7 people and putting carpets down and things and actively doing my job, having a little bit of help and assistance from your boom operator, having that communication is so key. If you don't have that communication, it can just fall apart.
Another boom operator I worked with some years back, Joe Brennan. You ever
I
heard
don't
of
know,
Joe?
Joe.
He was Tommy Kazi's boom operator for a long time. We did 2 series of a television show out in New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Tommy and Joe, they did a lot of movies, but they did all of the John Carpenter films.
Okay.
Halloween, Escape from New York,
Gotcha.
The Thing. Anyways,
Awesome.
Joe's always got a lot of great stories, but he was another one that was always on the set.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Joe's retired now, but he was just always there,
Yeah.
always a part of the team, and was able to always work with the shooting team and getting what he needed.
Yeah.
But he was just played well with others and was great at his craft. Joe always said something that I always found amusing. He says, "Whit, there's a shadow on every set. You just got to know where to hide it." But I'll give that quote to Joe Brennan
Wow.
for that. But that's always
That needs to be on a T-shirt somewhere.
that's always stuck with me because he knew where to hide his shadows.
Absolutely. Throw those shadows away.
Yeah.
Throw them away, guys. Very cool. Well, Whit, I want to say thank you so much for coming out here. I know that you have to catch a plane, so
Yeah.
I'm not going to have this one go as long today. But, guys, thank you so much for joining us on this Mantis discussion here with Whit. Appreciate it, and hopefully we can have you again soon.
Sounds good, Thomas.
All right, buddy.
Would love to.
Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Had a bunch of people joining in. We had a couple, like, drop-ins and dropouts, but the good thing is I was saving it this time as well.
Okay.
So I think it's good. Like, even if it dropped out, I can replace the file later.
okay.
That's what I didn't do with Chris Howland the other day. I recorded his.
Yeah, I've got to go back and see that.
You can't.
I can't.
It's literally, I'm going to have to pull it in. It went to Facebook,
Yeah.
and then when I hit the end live, 5 hours later, I look at Facebook, and I'm still live. I'm like, no, I'm not. I went to McDonald's a minute ago, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, I had to delete the video. It was silly.
Hopefully, it turned out like you wanted it.
It did. These are. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
this was
getting
incredible.
this super details. Just
No,
just generally
it's just
this
the
is.
talk.
Yeah,
It's just the talk. Trust me, people get so much out of this, man.